established the Braj memory in his divine writings or recompilations, revelations. One time Srila Prabhupada was sitting in his room and he was reading this book. And one devotee came in and says, Prabhupada, why you're reading this book? You wrote it yourself. And Prabhupada said with surprise, he said, no, I didn't write this. This was dictated to me. So, a very interesting thing, the faith of the devotees is that the Vedas are Paurusheya. They are books which have been revealed somehow or other into human vision in written forms by seers who were given the chance to understand what was the message of the day, and they somehow or other got it penned down. So Srila Vyasadeva, he's the scribe. He's the most important scribe. Actually, it is said that the scribe is Ganesha. Ganesha writes everything down with his tusk on a soft stone. That's the way it has been communicated, that the original Vedas had been kept. Even now you can see that people writing into stone is quite a popular process. They're using it still in Vindavan, even for more ordinary things, but entire shlokas are found scratched into or carved into marble. So it's not something strange to imagine that he actually had the ability to write it. So it's not fiction. But whatever it is, today we have it on paper. We don't have it in the rock form, and it would also be pretty impractical to share. So therefore, the Vedas, the Vedic scriptures, they are conveyed towards us in that way, and that's a founding stepstone of Vrindavan, because you have what you find here physically. What you find here physically in Vindavan is the Govardhan hill. You find the river Yamuna, and you find the dust, the sand of the Yamuna in Vindavan. It is called Braj, or the dust of Vindavan, and it's considered spiritual dust because it had been touched by the lotus feet of Krishna and his associates. But otherwise, historically speaking, you do not really have deities, or you do not really have temples from the 5,000 years ago age. And that also would be strange because Vindavan was a village. The houses were of the villagers, the cowherds. Maybe they had nice, even today you go to Braj village, you see they have nice stone carved pillars, and so they make pretty nice houses. So I'm sure they made nice houses in Krishna's time also, but they have not lasted. Houses don't last for 5,000 years. They fall apart quickly, practically. Sometimes you can find some item from the archaeological past, and then you say, oh, this is so old, and like that. Some pottery or so. But basically the original deities are respected. If you look at Radha Govindaji, you can see this is a deity very, very old. What they used to be fingers is now just like a round thing, like it worn off, you could say. But you know, a deity is also like that. Let's say a deity has received the Pran Pratishta. This is called the Navakalevanam. The Pran Pratishta is the installation in the deity's heart of the divine, which comes by the prayer of the devotees. So if for some reason a deity breaks or gets, you can't worship him anymore, then another deity can be obtained and the Pran Pratishta is transferred from that deity to another one. This in the case of Jagannath, they do that every 16 years or so. And that is called Navakalevanam. And just the last year they had a Navakalevanam celebration. Means the deities are made new, but they are still the same old. So this same principle can be applied. So if the deities actually are 5,000 years old, it's difficult to tell, and we will not go and scratch off some part to see and get a carbon-14 test, which is not a sure system anyway. But so we just believe it, no? So the deities are very old, but the scriptures are definitely old. And the land is not old. It's very old. It's when the planet Earth came into existence, you know. It says, and this place was holy even before Krishna came here, just because Krishna is going to come there. It was already a sanctuary in the maximum degree of the word. So the founders of Vindavan, in one way or another, there are many. There is all the acharyas who have made reference to Vindavan and Vindavan Lila. Like even Sripata Shankara Acharya is very famous for this saying, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda Muda Made. Of course, Govinda can also be understood as a name of Vishnu, but actually the Govinda everybody loves is Govinda, the one who takes the cows, takes care of the cows, the brahmanas, and the truths. That is Govinda, and he's a Vindavan character. He's not a Vaikuntha character. So then when Shankaracharya says this, worship Govinda, you fools, because in the moment of death, nothing else will save you except having chanted the names of Govinda. And he is the philosopher number one of giving certain kinds of interpretations and on everything. But when it came to the essence, he said, just worship Govinda. It's the only thing I can tell you. Everything else is secondary. And Ramanuja Acharya, Madhva Acharya, today's Ekadasi also, today's a special. Yesterday we had Madhva Acharya, before that we had Ramanuja Acharya. We're just coming through a period of great acharyas, great teachers, making their appearance in this world. So they were all very elaborate founders of Vindavan, even though they didn't spend much time here. But Madhvacharya in Udupi worshipped Krishna. Ramanuja Acharya, he worshipped the Supreme Lord in his area, also South India. Vishnu Swami, his sampradaya was later become very popular by Balabhacharya. He did a lot for the Krishna worship from Natadwar and from Gujarat. Intensive devotion towards Vindavan, and Krishna came from Gujarat region. And Nimbarkacharya, he very, very deeply embraced the worship of Radha Krishna in the Nikunja. He introduces very confidentially the divine couple which is being worshipped in Vindavan as Sri Sri Radha Krishna. So also they are founders of Vindavan, if you want to be looking towards it. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the founder of Vindavan, because it was him who sent his beloved disciples, the 6 Goswamis, plus Lokanath Goswami, Bhugarba Goswami. He sent them to rediscover the holy places of Vindavan. And I think they found something like 340 places where different leelas had been enacted, and they marked those places. How are you today? Better? So they marked those places, and today those places are known kundas, or water bodies, or shrines and temples or something. I mean, there's thousands of them, but 340 specifically are standing out, and that made the Braj culture. Braj culture came about by having the Braj Manta, the 84 kosh region, marked out as the spiritual heaven of the divine pastimes of Krishna. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did a very, very big job. He also came here personally, but the main job were done by his disciples under his order. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu designed so that we can go today to different holy places like Radhakunda, Shavakunda, Varshana, Nandagram. All this we owe to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and another part to Swami Haridas, who was more from the local region, a saint of the UP area and little Rajasthan influence, that where Swami Haridas came in from. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is outstandingly known for having conceived the whole Vindavan Leela, its importance, and how the Bhakti Yoga, or the service of the gopis, is to be conducted by following the Sankirtan movement, which he inspired, and where actually his place of birth is considered Gupta Vindavan, or the hidden Vindavan, in its reappearance in Bengal. That is practically the outstanding contribution. Many people have contributed to the Vedic knowledge by their commentaries and by their different institutions trying to favor the original message of Srila Vyasadeva. But for Vindavan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the outstanding founding personality. After that, a long gap exists. I mean, not a total gap. The followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do maintain some of the pujas in Vindavan, but to some degree the interest goes a little bit down. And then another wave comes, the founding of involving all the big kings. Of course, that starts at the time of Rup Sanatan, because even Akbar got involved with constructing the Govindaji Mandir Samad, So, but later it came so that every king of India, the time when India still had kings, they wanted to have a temple in Vindavan. It was a matter of prestige. You could not be a king in India and not have a temple in Vindavan. So, therefore, they made all these beautiful temples just in this area. We are now in the area of the kings. This is the king of Tripura who built this. He was married to the queen of Manipur, and then next to his temple he had her temple established for the worship with the Manipuri dancers who danced here on the dais and very specially. So, and there's so many, there's Dinashpur Mandir, there's the famous Gwalior State Mandir, there is the Burma State Mandir, and you just goes on and on and on. There's so many kings' temples here in Vindavan from those old days, making this Vindavan extraordinary, because you know when the kings came here on their elephants and something like this, it was always a big event, no? Oh, the king is coming to Vindavan, because last but not least it's a village, no? It's not a metropolis, it's not a place of some special thing, it's the place of this most special divinity. But they used to come here from, some came on a Rolls Royce, some came in an elephant, but they all came to Vindavan, and by the grace of the Supreme Lord, things got more comfortable to travel than in the previous days, where everything was depending on your feet to move on pilgrimage. And so in this way, the presence was become very, very, there was one king, the king of Jaipur, he made a special train line from Rajasthan to here to bring the stones here for making the Jaipur Mandir. Now you have to see the Jaipur Mandir, it's much more far out than the Taj Mahal or anything, and it's right here in Vindavan. Vindavan, there's a lot of constructions which are blow your mind when you see them. Absolutely. And the Jaipur Mandir is one of them, and the Prem Mandir is another one, constructed out of white marble. So it was really amazing how Vindavan, this little village in Braj, started flourishing in such an amazing way. Pagal Baba Mandir on the entrance of Vindavan, another absolutely astonishing marble temple of devotion, unheard of. And a beautiful area, Rangaji Mandir, the South Indian temple, came here to testify that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. That's why they made a very beautiful, elaborate temple. Then Lala Babu from Bengal, he came and he did a lot for the restoration of Vindavan. Practically he can also be considered the founder of Vindavan. Lala Babu, he belongs into this category. And the Seth from the Rangaji Mandir also gave a great contribution for making Vindavan more famous. Because this temple, just if you go in there, how many carved pillars are there with all the incarnations and all the, I mean, you can see, you cannot get such a thing done unless you have a lot of money and a lot of devotion. I don't know what comes first, I think devotion, because money is there a lot. I've seen one sadhu constructing another incredible place just on his own devotion, wanting to do something for his disciples and for the people. So, Vindavan is very unique in this regard. It has its founders, and it also had its drawbacks. For example, when partitioning took place and the democratic rule was installed 1947, then the kings of India all of a sudden lost all the means of income. And those who were rich before all of a sudden became very quite poor. But they still had their temples under their charge. You can maintain a temple or anything big if you have an income or a great donations or something. So it was really made in such a way that Vindavan had become very opulent, and the kings had made goshalas and dharmshalas and temples itself, like the Tikhari Rani Mandir right next to us on that side, which is the most opulent temple of Vrindavan, spectacular architectural piece. Even now you can go there and just blow your mind what they have done there, how much devotion is there. So all this together created a Vrindavan which was a hub of spirituality, a hub. People came here to recharge their devotional concepts, to understand there is a place in this world. I mean, Vindavan is considered an embassy of the spiritual world, where you can prepare your entry to the spiritual world. Like we recently witnessed the return of Srila Paramadvaiti Maharaj from this temple to the spiritual world. Like you say, no stops on the way, just transfer by the grace of the divine name and Srila Prabhupada on all of us. So we knew our Paramahansa Maharaj, and that was our really, really great fortune to have known him. Well, excuse me, gonna drink a little bit. So these great personalities, you see how much people, we are talking about this life, a span of time from the beginning of creation to 5,000 years ago when Krishna appeared here personally, then 500, then these years, then finally 500 years ago, the restoration or the reappearance of its majestic spiritual hub, and then going down and all the kings coming here, and then after partitioning, again a break came. Again a break came after all kings had built up this place since the medieval time. And they had no more money and no more power, so they couldn't do it. In a palatial building, just to maintain this little temple thing. Just to keep it going, just make sure you have offerings every day and the facilities and like that, no? Of course that includes feeding, and there's a lot of good eaters also. Right? But it's $3,000, something like that.
Only this.
So that's plus budget we have to fill in order to keep it here. And those kings' temples were much bigger than that. The small kingdoms and the smaller temple. Of course, the Manipuris, they had over 25 temples in Raj. So they're very, very active also, many places. But anyhow, so no more money, so the whole thing started falling apart. And like at the time of the 1960s, when Dham was so silent, nobody came here, was almost getting forgotten. Not totally in the books, it's there, in all the holy books, it's there, the holy land of Vrindavan. As a matter of fact, it's recommended for somebody to live in this place if he wants to practice self-realization. So in the Indian lore, highly potential, important information. So, next, another founder of Vindavan appeared. Bhaktivinoda Thakur came here. And he chose the specific locations for his development. He stayed and preached in Lalababu and established places in Radhakunda. And then his son continued his mission, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He chose the Kishorpura for his first temple to be made. And he started another mandir, a beautiful mandir in Radhakunda. And thus Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to come here with his disciples from Bengal and establish the very important things or messages. Even then there was another king, he also had been, like in the very end of his kingdom time, he had established the Mungir Mandir, and he had started to translate Mahaprabhu's teachings into Hindi. I mean, all these things this was Raj Prasad Singh from Mungir, and then came another move. Another move was totally unexpected. The next ambassador and founder of Vindavan was my spiritual master, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. What he did with Vindavan or for Vindavan is totally inedited. He took the message of the holy name of Krishna all around the world. He established real temples of the Vindavan style in places you cannot even imagine, from the Amazon jungles to the Chinese cities. Everywhere he established Krishna's holy name, Krishna's deity. Amazing. One Indologist, world famous authority on Orientalism, just forgot his name, he said, there's nothing in the history of the world which can be compared what Bhaktivedanta Swami did. I mean, just consider, there's nothing in the world which can be compared to what Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada did. What is that? What is that so special thing? He convinced people all around the planet to practice the orthodox practice of a spiritual tradition called Hinduism. I mean, there's some modern Hindus, they just practice a little yoga and they say we are Hindus. But not like Prabhupada established temples, celebration of Janmashtami, Radhastami, Ramnami, whole Hindu calendar he established. He established prasadam distribution, giving food to millions. He established the literature, the Bhakti literature. He translated the Bhakti literature into English and had it published in all the languages of the world, like some 52 languages or so. His books were published and distributed by huge amounts. So all this happened since 1965, when he first set foot on the United States soil. In those few years, all these established temples everywhere. Everywhere. You go to South America, you go to a small village, and all of a sudden you see a Krishna temple. The ambassador of India, he went to Shantidweep. Shantidweep is an island in the Titicaca Lake. So You should, you should see the ambassador of India made a video clip on his visit. And he goes by Google Map and finds the smallest island in the Titicaca Lake. He said, somebody invited me to this place which seemed to be an uninhabited island. But then, when we got there, we heard the sound of kirtan. And there they were chanting and living in the huts. And so he was so amazed. He was so amazed that he made a video clip. You can see it. It is called Krishna in the Titicaca. So, such far out places, already by now, the Krishna's conception has reached the Vindavan conception, because wherever people chant the holy name of Krishna, it is considered to be Vindavan. It's an expansion of Vindavan. So that's amazing. So even you can take a japa, start chanting. That's what this japa is about. You see, this is Vindavan. There's Tulsi Devi. Tulsi is Vindavan. Just put the van behind. That means the forest. Van means forest. We are actually forest people, you know. We are forest dwellers. We are not city dwellers. Vrindavan is forest. Unfortunately, they cut down most of the forest in the whole world, including in Uttar Pradesh. So we don't have as much forest as we should have, which should be more than half of the land should be forest. Anyhow, I hope some countries will go against this deforestation madness. Anyhow, so where there's a japa, also the wood is made from tulasi. So this is Vindavan, this is Vindadevi, the mantra. So it is all an expansion of Vindavan. This alone is a little temple. But my Gurudev, or my Paramadvaiti,